There's certain instances in the video game world where something happens, something will be announced, and you sort of shake your head and you go, this is one of those things that doesn't sound like it's going to work out too well. And there's numerous times that we can look back in the industry when we can say this was something that probably isn't going to work out too well. Now, there's data to sort of back this up, but also, in terms of what we see, we just don't see a lot of this in the industry anymore, and there's probably a good reason for that. I can't wait to get into this because I feel like it's going to be a very interesting topic. I'm not going to leave you guys on the hook anymore. Right now, it came out that timed game trials are now a requirement for PlayStation developers. Sony is requiring developers to create timed game trials for their games to include in its PlayStation Plus premium plans. Sony has begun communicating with developers about its plan for timed game trials for PlayStation Plus premium subscribers. According to sources speaking to game developers, developers working on games that cost $34 or more are now required to create time-limited game trials of their games. These trial versions must be at least 2 hours long. Games that cost lower than those amounts are not required to create limited time trials, according to the new policy. The plan follows Sony's announcement for the expanded subscription options for PlayStation Plus. Many developers were informed about the new policy via an update to Sony's developer portal. Our sources indicate that they had not received any other communication about the change. The good news is these requirements are not retroactive and do not apply to upcoming PlayStation VR titles. The less great news is that if you're a developer planning to release on the PlayStation Store in the future, you need to budget time and resources to create these new time trials. There is some flexibility as part of Sony's policy. Developers have up until 3 months after their game's launch on the PlayStation Store to release their time trial. Trials are also only required to be available on PlayStation Plus Premium users for at least 12 months. Sony is also open to releasing custom game demos instead of time-limited game trials, but these will only be approved on a case-by-case basis. Developers are also still free to publish free weekend game trials as well, or custom demos that can be accessed by all PlayStation owners. The new policy seems to be a mixed bag for all developers planning to release on PlayStation. On one hand, larger publishers like Activision Blizzard, 2K Games, or in Sony's in-house studios will likely have the resources needed to create these time-limited game trials, and they actually stand to benefit from PlayStation Plus premium subscribers. On the other hand, if your game is hovering just over the $34 price point, you're probably working with fewer resources than your competitors. And 2 hours may be a significant chunk of your game's actually content. So, going to be very interesting to see how people work that out. Now, savvy developers can maximize these trials into opportunities to acquire new players. But with no promise of payout at the end, it could be a risk being a lot of work for limited payoff. Now, listen, I've been seeing a lot of damage control from this from the PlayStation crowd, right? They go, well, isn't Game Pass? It's just all trials. People just use that as a way to try out games. I think the main difference is people that are in Game Pass are paid. You either get paid some kind of front-loaded money and paid per download or something along those lines, or you get royalties. Whereas with this, it just sounds like it's extra added work for developers, and I don't think that's a very smart plan, and I don't think that's a very smart idea for multiple reasons. Basically, I do think that game demos are cool and all that, and I think that, like EA Plus or Play or whatever uses them, but those games are 10-hour demos or whatever, usually like in a Madden or whatever. I know all their games usually offer that, but I think that, the handful of games that EA releases versus, every single game, so that means that Call of Duty is going to have a 2-hour trial, and, every game going forward, Hogwarts Legacy, like all these games are going to have 2-hour trials, and I think that some developers are going to be able to do that, but some not. But why waste so much time and effort with that? A scan of the PlayStation Store shows that very few games are strictly sitting at the $34 mark, so the group of developers most impacted are those releasing at a $39.99 tier. A number of single-player games from mid-sized developers dominating that list included Spider Studios' Greedfall, Asobo's A Plague Tale, Innocence, Ember Labs' Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. Game demos have had a bit of a resurgence in the last couple years, from prologues released on Steam to limited time demos offering during game events like Summer Games Festival or Valve's seasonal Steam Game Fest. It is interesting to see Sony revive them as a tier for relatively high-rolling subscribers. Sony did not respond to their queries about the new policy by the time of the publication, but they'll update it, and I'm going to link this if you guys can check it out. So, basically, this high-ass end PlayStation tier is specifically for, specifically for demos now. Like, you're paying all this extra money for game demos. I don't really understand the thought process there, but again, maybe it's not up for me to understand. Like, I don't understand it, but I do think that at the end of the day, Microsoft and Sony, they copy each other a lot of the times when it comes to stuff. I just feel like locking your locking demos behind the paywall, locking backwards compatibility behind the paywall, these don't sound like smart moves from Sony, and it's really unfortunate because I feel like Sony has themselves in a great spot with the PlayStation 5. It's obviously the most sought after console, but we also are in this weird type of situation where I think that people are going to kind of turn against them if they keep doing it. And not only that, developers. Look, developers. I get the joke, but developers might be pro Sony and pro PlayStation right now, but what about when they got to do this extra work? I think that extra work for no payout could actually hamper them. And the funny thing is, we can actually go back and look at this article. Yeah, it's from a handful of years ago, but it talks about, it's a research about how game demos can hurt sales and things like that. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how this ends up. But for me personally, I think that paying for game demos is lame. I think that in general, I don't know what Sony's thinking with their plan here. Honestly, it just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense that that they're kind of doing things this way. To me, it just is a wonky situation, and I do hope that we get some kind of clarification or something, because this does not sound like it's going to work out well for anybody, let alone PlayStation fans. It's just, how is that a good thing? Like, you're paying almost as much for that as you are Game Pass Ultimate, but you're not getting actual day one games, and you're getting the big perk is demos. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe it's weird. I'm not sure. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm Crap Gamer, and of course, this is Crap Gamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. If you guys do stop by to watch my videos, please leave a like. It helps the channel to be seen and grow. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Crap Gamer out.